This is Decoding Learning Differences with Kimberly Lavelle, and this episode is Motivational Affirmations. So in this episode, we were talking about how to use affirmations to motivate your kids, actually. I kind of realized this on a deep level a few weeks ago with one of my kids. It was like one of those moments where, why are you doing that? Why are you? And so I tried something different. And I tried saying, luckily I was in a good space. So I tried saying, I know that you are a good and kind and helpful person. And I can't remember what else I said with that, but it was basically, that was the focus. Was like, I know that this is who you are as a person. And I didn't get sucked into, don't do this and the normal stuff that I usually get sucked into, all the yelling or the scolding or threatening, even though I know I shouldn't. So I was in this space of affirming. Now, of course, this applies in parenting. It also applies educationally. Teachers can use this. Parents can use this in an educational way where you are affirming your kid. So maybe your kid is struggling with reading and they're like, this is really hard. Don't say, you're such a good reader. If they know they're struggling, you lying about it is not an affirmation. What I would say is something like, you are such a hard worker. Or you are making so much progress. Or things along those lines where you're focusing on there is effort being put in and it is leading to progress and or not. You can say, you are so persistent and you aren't giving up and I'm not going to give up either. And I would say don't say it with an expectation that anything will be said back to you. It's not really part of a conversation as much as an affirmation, a hug, and then walking away, letting it just soak in and be felt. I hope that makes sense. So it could be something like that. You are a helpful and kind person. You are a persistent and intelligent learner. I know that one sometimes feels like a lie to the kids because they're like, I'm so dumb. I was like, well, no, you're not. I've got the data to prove it, right? You're going to pull up those IEP testing scores with those high IQs and you're like, look, you are intelligent. Your brain is wired differently and you are persistent in making gains. And I love that. Now, let's say, because I can hear people in my head, my kid's not persistent. They give up all the time. Sometimes you have to find that little spark. And maybe they're a lot more consistent than you are giving them credit for, because that's normal, right? They were persistent, they were trying super hard, and then they felt defeated and stopped trying as hard. So it can be, I know that at your core, you are a persistent person who works super hard to learn things. This is really hard. This is harder for you than for most people. And I know that you will get this, and it is hard, and it's not. It doesn't feel fair. Totally get that. I just want you to know that I know you are a persistent person who works really hard. And that's probably too many words, but whatever feels right in that moment. I kind of wanted to give you some extra words that see what feels right for you. Use what works, forget the rest. Okay. So your takeaway for today is focus on the very best of who our kids are, because it motivates them to be the best of who they are. If you remind them that they are a persistent hard worker, they will be a more persistent hard worker. It does have to be genuine. If you are saying something that is not true or they know is not really genuine, they are likely to push back and kind of do the opposite. So you do have to use this in a way that is careful. Another way that I should have mentioned, you can use this is not about reading at all. Just don't focus on that. If that's their struggle, I'm using that as the example. So if their struggle is reading, don't focus on that. Focus on the things that they are really good at. You are so imaginative. You are so amazing at building Lego. I cannot believe what you were able to create, right? You're so friendly with everyone. I'm just so impressed by how friendly you are and how kind you are to everyone who you meet. Focus on all the things that they are, sometimes just building up who they are unrelated to reading or whatever their struggles are allows them to feel good about who they are and actually can motivate them to work harder in the things that they're struggling with. Okay, so let me hear your thoughts. Kimberlyn at decodinglearningdifferences.com.